Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be in the world, and welcome back to the Creator Series WRC event here on a Monday afternoon. It's already gone wrong. Cancel the whole thing. We're going to bed. But no, welcome to the WRC event here on a Monday evening. My name is TK. Alongside me is Isaac Musing. How are you doing?
Very well, and yourself. It's going to be an epically fast event here. WRC2 in Estonia. We've had Rally Poland in real life, so we have replaced Poland with Estonia to recreate the event for ourselves. It's going to be ever so fast and hopefully very close times, according to the leaderboards, which we've seen already.
It certainly will, but I think we're definitely in for a treat of an evening here in the WRC. But let's not beat around the bush. Drivers are getting themselves ready and underway, and I think some of them have already kicked off as well. So let's go and have a look. Here we go, riding on board with Punju to kick things off. Stage number 1, and the world record time, looking about 10 minutes for the stage, probably a little bit less.
Yes, the stages, although they are quite long in terms of kilometers, they are so fast. Normally third or fourth gear every single corner, apart from a couple of hairpins. So a 20-kilometer stage can be done in under 10 minutes. So it's just, I think, one of the fastest rallies in the game and one of the most enjoyable, according to me.
Yeah, I think I've spoken to a few of the drivers before the event started, as I usually like to do, and even some of them have said they're really looking forward to it. A lot of jumps to look forward to, as you see Punju absolutely launching that Skoda Fabia over the hills of Rally Estonia and definitely getting settled in to the handling. Already, though, a corner-cutting penalty for himself.
Yes, it's so easy to get a penalty in this stage because it's so fast, and you've just got that tiny orange-colored pole to look out for, and if you're going sideways, it's so easy to miss. The gravel, sometimes very high grip, very low grip, very abrasive gravel surface for the tires, and so sometimes it just means that when you turn in, you get a bit more grip than you expected, and hopefully there's an anti-cut marker, not a hay bale on the inside, which Punju's just clipped there once again. It's gone wrong once for you, TK. Now for me, I'm jinxing already, so we were off to a good start.
Yeah, we started early here on this Monday afternoon. On the right-hand side of your screen, a newcomer to our WC events here on the Creator Series channel, introducing Bedrock Zoo, also known as the largest sim racer of every year, according to their Twitch bio. But they're finding themselves quite comfortably into the realms of rally so far. And it was a couple of trips through the checkered tape, so to speak. But he's doing well. He's found himself back, literally, on the tarmac.
Yes, talking about large, the width of the road, barely enough for that Hyundai in some of the corners, so we'll have to watch out for that. But it'll be interesting to see how they do in terms of a live broadcast. It's very different when you're doing something with your own audience and just focusing on getting the best stage times, but in such a sort of high-pressure environment where you're literally racing against the clock. You've really got to focus down, and it'll be interesting to see how they do today.
You truly do indeed. It's going to be a unique challenge for a lot of our drivers. We've had rallies in the past that aren't necessarily the fastest, but this one is a test of pure speed alone. 46 minutes is what we're expecting all of the stages combined to take first stage, and the world record time is a 5-minute 20-second run. So drivers will be looking to mark that out at the moment. Dark Viper just crossing about 2/3 of the way through the stage. I think Bedrock Zoo is about to come across the finish line for their first run here, and hopefully we'll have to switch up. There we go, rounding the final couple of corners. Not far long left to go for himself. You can't see it on your screen at the moment, but I am watching on the right hand side. He's got a couple more corners to navigate before he comes across the line to finish off stage 1.
Yeah, we have Punju already through the stage, 52nd place, 21 seconds off the lead, just showing how fast the pace is at the front. And you can see that on the leaderboards of Estonia, it's every single time is split by a couple of hundredths, if not a couple of tenths of seconds, right up to first place. So every single lift-off, every single hesitation will cost you time in this rally.
It will indeed. Back to Dark Viper making their way through the hills of Estonia at the moment. It looks like potentially a jump coming up. It is indeed. Jump 200. There he goes, about to launch his car off one of the hills. It's only a bit of a mini one, though. Maybe a little bit cautious on the accelerator pedal. But look at the fast and flowing nature, as we've already discussed here in Estonia this afternoon. The WRC2 cars, absolutely built for conditions like this.
Most definitely four-wheel drive, a bit of aerodynamics, not as much as the Rally 1 cars, but they still have 280 to 300 brake horsepower, which is more than enough for most drivers. and definitely one of the most popular classes of the game in terms of competitiveness and in terms of enjoyment as well. Some of the maybe not easiest cars to drive, but most consistent cars, which makes them the fan favorites of casual players and competitive players both alike.
Yeah, speaking of competitive players, on the right-hand side of your screen there, we do indeed have Vlembar, the driver that currently tops our championship standing here in the Creator Series Club. And if you want to join, if you're not in already, you can do so on RaceNet. Just search under Partner Clubs with their EA Creator Series on the left-hand side. Punju just getting ready for run number 2, but just taking a step back to what we previously said. The WRC 2 cars and actually Rally Estonia came into WRC at roughly the same time, or at least came into Rally at roughly the same time. 2013 was when the WRC 2 car sort of came onto the scene, and then 2014 was actually when Rally Estonia became a round of the European Rally Championship.
Yes, before the R5 cars, which then became Rally 2 cars with a few changes, minor changes in regulation, nothing big, we had the S2000 class, which we've used previously on this series, which was naturally aspirated. These are turbocharged and a lot more consistent power delivery, so different driving style. You can afford to chuck these sideways and have a lot of fun with them. So it'll be interesting to see which drivers have confidence. Speaking about confidence, we've got EXR Kamakazi across the line for stage 1 there. And it'll be an epic showdown, in my opinion, between Vlembar and Kamikazi for this one. They seem to be on the pace, both of them, and consistently fighting for top leaderboard stage times.
They certainly will. Kamikazi in P10 at the moment in the overall championship standings. We wait and see where they are at the end of stage 1, and that is looking like the top of the time. It is indeed. It's P2 for himself. 3 seconds off the top. That is held by Tez Huda. I'm going to pronounce every single name wrong this evening. If this is the first time joining us, I'm not very good with names, so I apologise in advance. You'll just have to bear with me.
Yes, Hujda, one of the WRC esports drivers from the past, competed against them way too fast, in my opinion, needs to be nerfed. But in any case, for the stage 1, they have done an impressive job. And I think Vlembar there was in 3rd place as well. So, oh no, 2nd place for Vlembar, just beating out EXR Kamikazi, I'm seeing on the leaderboards that we have access to here. So, Kamikazi was 1 second off Hujda, and Vlembar 3 seconds off. So, ever so close at the top already.
It is indeed. It already heats up to a fantastic competition. Punju there in the Skoda Fabia RS Rally 2. Making his way through, I believe, the start of the 2nd stage. I've actually run this one before. I remember running this with Gareth, one of our producers behind the scenes. And this, let's just say, caused death by hay bale quite a number of times.
This is one of my favourite stages of all time in any rally game, with this rallycross section at the start. It is just so awesome to drive, even on gravel tyres. You can put the car sideways, you can carry a lot of speed, and it's one of those sections where you can lose a lot of time, paradoxically, even though it's quite simple compared to the gravel sections of the stage. But just the uniqueness having a rallycross track on a rally stage is enough to just make it mesmerizing every single time I drive it. And I'm sure for every single driver that hasn't driven this course before, they'll be thinking, hang on a minute, am I on a circuit racing game? And all of a sudden they'll get back to the reality that there's trees, as we're seeing from Punju there, and they'll have to back off a little bit. But it lulls you into a false sense of security, actually, the fact that you're able to push a lot on the rallycross track and then you've got to dial it back afterwards.
Yeah, it's a real test and challenge for some of our drivers here. You get lured into that full sense of security that you know what you're doing, you're back on the racetrack, and then all of a sudden, boom, there is trees, there's hay bales, there's spectators, and there's tape, and that is going to pull you back to reality really, really quickly. Dark Viper making his way through stage 2 as well. If the colours look a little bit funky, he's got a HDR monitor, we've been told in the past, so that's why it might look a little bit weird on our screens, I can assure you. Actually, for once, he's not driving in the dark, but when he is driving in the dark, it does look mesmerising, seeing all the colours on his face as he goes through the hills of wherever we are for the rally that week.
Yeah, for the moment it's a mesmerising sunset on his screen, and you can really see the definition of the road here. Quite a few jumps, a very, very big jump coming up in a minute. But you can see the Estonia differs from Poland a little bit if you've been watching the WRC broadcast from this weekend. Poland's quite a bit more flat and slightly narrower as well in terms of the roads compared to the game's roads, at least. And in Estonia, you have quite a few more jumps and blind crests and stuff like that to deal with. Same amount of trees, however, as we're going to see Dark Viper approaching the massive jump. You have to get it just correct on going slightly left over the crest. Let's see how he does it. Does he keep it flat? Coming up in just a second. You'll get the pace note in a minute. 200 meters over crest. Here we go. Estonia Airlines, and just getting it perfect. A little bit to the right. Could have afforded to go a bit left there, but kept it flat and good on him. But not failing to get on the brakes, which is a common thing that I see. Just panicking before the jump, and then he forgets to jump on the brake pedal, but he managed to collect it all. And that looks like it's going to be a very good stage time from him. As we've got Vlembar, I think, starting that same stage now with the rallycross section at the start to be able to see this in its full glory.
Indeed, he is. Another face that we've mentioned Kamakazi on the right-hand side already. There will be a few more faces hopping in and out. We briefly saw Encephalosis, who I will try and get his name right every single time this week. And at some point, I'm sure B-Roy will be joining us on screen as well. But for now, we're on board with Vlembar through that almost stadium section, or at least the tarmac track section, asphalt. And so far, so good for himself, using all of the edges of the track to his advantage. You can see the barriers now on the left and the right hand side through the twisty turning nature. It's almost like a BMX track in some regards. Up, down, left, right. You never quite know where the next corner is going to take you, and that is why it's so crucial to be listening to your co-driver. Listen to the pace notes as they're called out. Immediately thrown left, then right, right, then left, then right again.
Yes, it's indeed a near enough exact replica, I think, of the layout of the actual rallycross track. And they've done a really good job of replicating the terrain, which is really has a lot of elevations and blind crests in there. Obviously, very dusty tarmac. It's not exactly like a circuit, like a Formula 1 track. So you've got to be careful. Also, the tire wear will wear your tires out. So in real life, you see a lot of drivers sort of taking it easy on the tarmac to make sure that they don't burn the tires up completely. One of our drivers not taking it easy is Kamakazi there, absolutely flat out and just mesmerizing speed, just almost warp speed in my opinion.
Yeah, take it easy is 3 words in Kamakazi's dictionary that he does not know as he continues through the hills of Estonia. The beautiful ultra-wide view that I think his monitor is affording him. I think it makes it look like he's going so much faster, but you can see the calmness, the control in his eyes. He's watching the screen, the micro adjustments of the wheel. At the bottom of his camera, that Skoda is completely under his control through every single little jump, the little tilts on the right and the left of the circuit almost as he goes through. There is nothing that he is not commanding of this Skoda Fabia.
Most definitely. You can see with the inputs, he's just so calm about it. Most drivers, if they're driving at high speed, they'll do a lot of flick inputs on the wheels, micro corrections. You can see with the yellow band on his wheel, it's barely moving from the center. He's just using the throttle pedal, using the brake to get the car rotated, and the inputs are minimal. That's exactly what you want, a smooth driving style on a fast rally like this. One, it prevents a lot of tire wear, and two, you barely correct over jumps. You see, barely even have to correct at all through there, so it leaves you less at risk of having a major incident. As we see Punju starting stage 3. Very good stage 2 from Punju, only 6 seconds off the leader in a top 20 time, so he's dialed into this one as well.
Yeah, he is indeed. Both drivers left and right of your screens at the moment, absolutely dialed in. I'm almost blows my mind watching Kamakazi, because even my mind, I'm just watching him drive. I couldn't possibly comprehend anything that he's got coming for him. I'm watching it, my brain can't compute just watching him send it through the hills. Punju on the left-hand side, it's a lot brighter for himself, but he's all got off a little bit of contact with an open hay bale there. It's not going to cause him much damage, but it certainly will be a hit to the ego. Back on your screens now, Bedrock Zero on the same stage as Punju, stage number 3, if I am correct. A very, very short stage alongside stage number 2.
Yes, in fact, we've got Bedrock Zoo and Punju on the exact same jump, actually, going side by side. And so we'll be able to get a view of them here. Punju just a corner behind now, so you'll be able to get a view of the different driving styles, different sort of braking zones and handling of the cars, because they're in different cars as well. So some corners will suit one setup or one driver better than others, and you're just able to see the sort of micro hesitation sometimes if you're not used to the stages, and that's where drivers like Kamakazi and Vlembar will make the difference. Is they'll just keep it absolutely flat out, and with the acceleration of these cars, although it's very good, the horsepower is still limited, so it does make a huge difference. Every time you lift off the throttle, you're losing about half a second, and it adds up even in the shortest of stages.
It does indeed. Watching, there's two of them still going through. We can see the differences, as you said, the micro adjustments between the two of them over the jump. They go nice and calm and controlled for that. But speaking in terms of their driving style, Bedrock likes to send it into a corner. Punju wants to cut as much of that corner as he possibly can. Watch on the right-handers upcoming and the left. Punju right on that apex. Bedrock running wide, and that is into a tree for himself. That Hyundai took a massive hit to the rear left.
Yeah, just as you said, chucking it into the corner, it can work. It looked like the car stalled out a little bit. He just had it a bit too far going sideways, and then lost momentum, and then it was pitched into a sort of a spin, and then into the bushes on the outside there. I was going to say Bedrock, a very, very old school sort of Colin McRae-esque driving style of chuck it in on the handbrake, figure it out during the corner. Punju, very sort of new school driving style where you're sort of maximizing the racing line, as you can see, and he's really making it work. He's gained a lot of time on this stage compared to Bedrock Zoo, so we'll have to wait and see. They're just approaching the stage finish there, with Punju finishing the stage and Bedrock about to cross the line now. Punju in 40th place, if I am correct, and that's another good time from him.
Yeah, fantastic time. You spoke about wanting to maximise the racing line in terms here in the rally. I think that goes back to speak to his adventures out in Formula 1, in iRacing as well. And obviously, he races track cars, you know, circuit racing quite often. And that really shows in his driving style, especially here in Rally Bedrock Zoo. I can't speak to much previous knowledge on him, unfortunately. But again, like you said, he's got that more attitude of, we'll throw it in, we'll figure it out later if it goes wrong. Two different driving styles, neither of which necessarily wrong.
No, most definitely. I always love the entertainment of an old school driver that just loves to forget about the tires, forget about the car. We're just going to absolutely utilize all of the track and make sure that we're looking at trees every single corner, not at the road. You've got to chuck it at least 45 degrees sideways, and that is hugely entertaining. But it must be said for drivers like Punju, that track experience will matter on a rally like this with very high speed, because you don't necessarily want to be chucking it too far sideways. You'll lose momentum. It makes you much more prone to mistakes, as I mentioned previously. And you'll see with Kamakazi and Vlembar, they're just minimizing the oversteer, definitely minimizing the understeer, obviously, with the handbrake sometimes, but they don't want to chuck the car sideways, and they're just trying as much as possible to keep that speed. And once again, Kamikaze's perspective is just absolutely mesmerizing to watch, I must say.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. I wonder if I reckon we could probably kick off the interviews here this afternoon. We could probably pull Punju in and have a quick chat with himself, see how his first couple of stages have gone. Punju, welcome into the commentary box. Hope you're doing well. Hello.
I'm doing good. Good timing for me not to be saying something silly. How's it going, guys? Welcome in.
It's going well.
How's it going?
How have your first few stages gone for yourself? Talk us through it.
I will say this is the best I've done in a Creator Series event in a very long time. I'm really enjoying it. I love this car track content so much. So, yeah, this is ideal. For me to get top 20 in stage 2 was crazy. Obviously, I've been dumped down 22nd now, thanks to Kamakazi. But, you know, it's been great. It's been really fun.
I've noticed you're using a lot of sort of track racing lines and trying to minimize the time loss through the corners. How much of the track racing experience can translate to a very fast rally like this?
You know, I feel like they only translate to fast rallies like this. Like, obviously, you know, being slidey and slippery and stuff like that is really useful to places like Greece or Portugal, where you're going so many corner transitions, like, you want to know how to scan deflect and all that kind of stuff. But here, you just got to keep it online as best you possibly can so you can fly. And yeah, I think the track racing is really helping right now. And also just general track knowledge. Like, I know these stages really well. I've tried full records on them so many times. So this is like this is my jam. This stage.
You've had top 20 stage times. How do you think you'll do versus the other creators? We've seen people like Bedrock Zoo a bit more aggressive than you, having a few problems already. Do you think you can just keep it clean and get a few extra points there, keep yourself in the championship?
I won't be able to keep myself in the championship, but I will be able to, I think, beat out Aerotech after today, I think. So that's going to be really my only thing. Like, it's he and I, obviously, you know, are dueling season long, right? And I just want to do well enough to be able to beat him, honestly, and get a good lead. So I'm using today to be that lead, hopefully.
Hello.
We'll see, though. Obviously, you know, I'm about to start, I think, the longest stage of the day. Is that the second longest stage of the day? So we'll see what happens into this one. But yeah, I'm really looking for that.
Amazing stuff. Thank you so much, Punju, for taking the time to come and chat. I'm sure we'll speak to you a little bit later on as well.
Oh, I'm sure you will.
Fantastic.
Adios,
Catch you in a bit.
Oh, Bedrock, straight into, I think that's a DNF, straight into the lamppost, not lamppost, the street sign. And that is indeed our first DNF of the day. I did not expect that one. Just straight over the jump. It is blind over that jump. You can't see it until you're already in the air. And at that point, you're a passenger. And you went into it full speed, unfortunately. And that is not going to be repairable, sadly.
It's not at all. That will be a tow to the start of the next day, so not quite sure where that will place him in terms of stages. I'm sure you'll be able to tell us in just a couple of moments, but I think it's an early shower, at least for Bedrock Zoo this afternoon. Bear in mind, stage 3 is in morning times, so it's not a great start.
No, indeed, it's not a great start, and I think they just had a service, so that will be him out for 2 stages now. Which is most unfortunate, but thankfully he will be able to restart, I think, at the start of stage 6. We have a few more stages than regular this time just because of the speed of these stages. You get through the kilometers ever so fast, I think, as you can see via our footage. So we've got 12 stages today for you, and yeah, that gives ample opportunity to have a redemption arc.
Yeah, indeed. A lot of stages to come, a lot of rallying to do as well, and all of them very short. I think the longest one this afternoon is a 17.1 kilometer stage. That'll be stage 7. I think there's a 14 or an 11. Actually, there's 2 17s in there. You've got stage 7 and stage 4, I believe, are those back-to-back or reverse order. So they will be approaching a very long stage in just a few moments' time.
Indeed, indeed, and you've got to really, really keep it sort of consistent on a stage like this. It's when you get into a very long stage, it's very easy to lose the rhythm, especially on a fast stage. And if you have a moment in a corner, especially a very fast corner, as we're seeing Punju having a little bit of a moment there, just recovering it. But that kind of moment can really throw off your confidence. If the car does something that you didn't expect it to do, then you just second guess yourself at that point, and you know, you have to make a decision then on a long stage. Do I back off or do I start pushing again and see if I can find a limit? Looks like Punju is still pushing, that's for sure. So he looks like to have been unaffected by that at least.
Yeah, Punju's one of those drivers that will quite happily put past what's happened, put it to the back of his mind and just focus on the here and now. And you can see that in his driving smile, the smile already coming back, which has been so contagious over the last season and a half here in the Creator Series WRC event. And it's always fantastic to see just the smirk and the smile that he brings. It's just absolutely tantalizing. We're on the right-hand side here is Vlembar on the same stage as Punju, just starting off over the first series of jumps. And this is so controlled, so precise from our championship leader.
Yeah, most of these jumps you have to listen to the pace note, but stage knowledge is very, very critical because some of the pace notes are quite simple, so you've got to guess whether you go left or right. And so you've got to know exactly how much to turn. We'll see from Vlembar, if he takes the corners and the jumps flat out, you will see the speed difference and the jump distance difference. And how crucial stage knowledge is on a rally like this. We had Kalle Rovanperä, for example, in the real-life Rally Poland, didn't do a recce and had to sort of guess his pace notes for the first run of each stage. And he noted how difficult it was to drive a stage without having reviewed videos, without having memorized everything properly. And so if the speed increases. As Dark Viper has had a huge crash there, rolling on one of the jumps. I think that's the one with the hay bale on the outside, if I'm correct. And I think he clipped the hay bale. That might have put him into that roll there. Very easy to do, just trying to take it flat out. I don't think there's too much damage, but that was a big one.
It was indeed. Onto his roof, off again, and onto his roof for good measure. But Dark Viper still going. Looks again unaffected here in the WRC event. He's putting pedal to the metal, to quote George Morgan, and he's continuing through the stage. Now on to Kamakazi, of course, that ultra-wide monitor, making it look like he's absolutely flying through here, quicker than if 7 reindeers were pulling him through. I don't know where that's come from. It's nowhere near Christmas time, but we'll continue through the hills of Estonia.
Yeah, he's Norwegian. That's close enough.
Yeah.
And there we go. Over the jump there. That jump's so difficult to judge because you've got trees on the inside, hay bale on the outside. You've got about 10 degrees of sort of safe zone over that crest, and he took it absolutely flat out. And as well as this one, look how neat he is flying over the jumps. And this is where the time difference is made, as I've said before. Tricky braking zone. Well, barely a braking zone, actually. I don't think he hit the brakes at all through there. I definitely do, but obviously the talent on display here is absolutely incredible. And you can see some spectator zones. That's one thing that Rally Estonia does very well, is you get some like closed off sections, or sections where there's a little pull-in for like a factory or something. And they really have these like tight hairpins and obstacles where you have to get the line, as you can see, just perfect through there, and he's just done it, absolutely making it look easy, I must say.
Yeah, he always makes it look easy when he comes to do the events here on a Monday afternoon. I don't know how he does it. It's absolutely fantastic and mind-blowing every single time. I think this is actually the first week we've been able to see the full ultra-wide view from himself, and I think that just adds to the immersion. Imagine that slightly wrapped around you as well. Tap on the brakes, get that car rotated, but as you've said, he does most of the steering actually on the throttle. There's minor inputs to that steering wheel. You can see the yellow band just ever so slightly left and right, but the majority that he's doing is with his brake and his throttle, and that is how he's controlling this car.
Oh, so we've got B-Roy as well with a huge moment. He went round the outside of the hay bale. So if you get it wrong, you have a split second. If you haven't taken the jump flat out, you've got a split second to decide where you go left or right of the hay bale. It has never happened to me before. And 360? Oh, epic. Wonderful. Oh, nearly. Just didn't manage to catch it. But you know what? I'll give that an 8 out of 10. The 360 was epic. And he's just in time to brake for the junction as well. Pretty good stuff. But you can see there how easy it is to get it wrong. And really, it's all about the split-second decisions. And just getting it wrong over the jumps. These cars do have quite a bit of weight on them. So once you go over the jump, when you land, although the suspension is good, you don't have that turning ability straight away. So it's very important to figure out where you're going before the jumps.
Yeah, the bonnet came off at the wrong time for B-Roy there. On your screens now, Dark Viper on the left, Kamakazi on the right-hand side. Dark Viper navigating his way through round hay bale. A fantastic drive so far. Still making that Formula rim work for himself. He's done it week in, week out. So he's definitely accustomed to handling the car here. And over the jumps, over the crests, over the hills he comes. And it is going to be Dark Viper on a fantastic charge at the moment.
Yes, definitely. If in doubt, go flat out over these crests. And I think all of our drivers are taking it to heart today. They all love this rally. This is one of the favourites. Everybody was anticipating this with a load of hype. And they all wanted to do a good rally here. So I'm sure that they will not be lifting unless they really, really have to. And can you blame them? Look at these roads. They're just so epic and just so sort of inviting to try a bit harder, inviting to push the limits. You know, on so many rallies, you've got banks and all that. These have slight runoff areas on some corners, and it's kind of a false friend in terms of allowing you to take risks, but so enjoyable.
Indeed it was. It's always fantastic. I actually really enjoyed running this rally when we did it back in Season 1. And it's actually a really fun, fast-flowing. There's minor rooms for mistake. You know, you've got that opportunity to try and save the car, unlike some of the other rallies we've had in the past, notably Sweden back at the start of the season. when obviously you had the ice, and if you had made a minor mistake, locked those tyres up, it was goodbye and you were going off a cliff. But here you've got minor opportunities to save the car if needed. There's runoff areas on the left and the right, albeit there's trees there and hay bales and spectators, but we ignore them for now. And yeah, you've got that opportunity to pull the car back to the straight and narrow. Watching on board here with is it Vlembar? I think we're on board with.
Vlembar we're on board with.
Amazing. Without the name tag, I sometimes can't remember. But yeah, doing so well. Definitely in the Skoda, I can tell you that with the logo at the bottom of that steering wheel.
Yes, and I know both Kamakazi and Vlembar are just so competitive at this rally. It's always the fast rallies are always where you see the top of the talent coming to the top of the leaderboard. You have to just be so pinpoint accurate, and you can really see that in the driving from both of them here on your screen. And like they make it look easy, but I can honestly say this is just exemplary stuff. In terms of the commitment and smoothness, as I mentioned before, and even in low light conditions like this, they're not phased by it. They know where they're going. They know exactly how much they can push. And to be quite frank and honest, you'll very rarely see a mistake from them on these sort of rallies, because they drive them so much. They just absolutely love it, and they use this to develop their skills on such a fast rally, because on slow rallies you can use the handbrake, you can get away with stuff, but on these rallies you need to know what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly that. There's almost it's pinpoint precision. As much as there's the elements of the runoff areas you can save the car, it is based on time and time alone. And if you lose a millisecond or a couple of tenths in a corner, there is not much opportunity to gain that time back, because you are full send most of the runs here.
Yeah, look at B-Roy smiling just as he's going through the stage. I think he might have had another moment in the stage, but you can see you're looking just straight up at the sky on some of these jumps and crests, and that's what makes it truly special. You've got a mix of Finland and Poland in Rally Estonia, and I think it's just the perfect addition, a sort of combination. Just a quick update on the leaderboard. EXR Kamakazi in third place on that stage, Hujda at the top, and NX, his teammate, in second place. All of them in the Skoda Fabia, only losing 2 seconds on that stage. So he's well in competition for the overall win at the moment.
Yeah, indeed he is. I wonder, whilst we wait for some of our drivers to finish off their stages, we can dig deep, go and chat to the animals, and bring Bedrock Zoo in for a quick chat with Dragon Across. There we go, Bedrock. Welcome into the commentary box. Your first time out here in the Crate Series WRC event. Talk us through what happened. We saw the crash, but surely
you did.
We just caught it right at the end.
Oh no, I had an excuse lined up. As in, I was inspecting the signage on the stage, but no, yeah, it came out of nowhere. It was fun. First 1.5 minutes or so was a lot of fun. I felt like I was improving. Everything felt smooth, and then it came to an abrupt end. But we'll get back.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think it was a speed limit sign that you did hit. So they're there for a reason, sadly. But it was a very unfortunate incident. The crest, very sort of unsighted, and sometimes obstacles can be out of view. How are you finding the driving, though, so far? You've been very exuberant with your driving style at the moment. Do you think that's been to your favor? How are you enjoying it?
I'm enjoying it very well. Exuberant is not what I'm aiming for. It just comes off like that, I guess. But I do it for the fans. I do it for the crowd, because it's a bright orange car. You have to show for it. It's fun though.
Taking the if in doubt, go flat out style. Then I love it.
Yes.
That's what I like. You've got to. Entertainment is the number one priority, I think, in any type of motorsport. And to be honest, to see you go in on the handbrake, old school style, is just absolutely fascinating. What do you think maybe you can maybe fine-tune or improve? Is there anything you're thinking that's holding you back, potentially?
Well, most of the obstacles in Estonia is what's holding me back. I'll try and keep it on the road. I feel like the car setup that I came up with is pretty good. It's pretty solid. I just need to keep it on the road and go maybe 1% slower, and then I'll go 20% faster. I think that's how it works.
Yeah, sounds about right to us here in the commentary box. But where do you join back in to the rally? We saw you DNF quite early. I'm just trying to figure out what stage you're coming back in
Start
on.
stage 5. If I
5?
am correct.
I believe.
Well, we wish you the best of luck, and when you hop back in, just
Yeah,
avoid getting caught speeding.
Yeah, good, fair point. All right, thank you guys.
Fantastic stuff. Thank you, Bedrock.
See you in a bit.
Yes, indeed.
Fun.
Sudden stoppages are definitely a problem in rally, and that was one of the more frustrating ones, I must say so.
Yeah, it was really unfortunate for him there. Obviously, first time into the WRC event as well, and he got knocked out on stage 2. He'll come back in at stage number 5, so it's not a bad thing for him. It's an 8.5 kilometer stage, but he does have that long service area, which won't necessarily mean much to him with having to make those crucial repairs to get the car effectively roadworthy again.
Yeah, there was a lot of damage to that car, cracked windscreen. I think the whole front end was missing basically on it. Those steel posts are quite solid, I think so myself. So yeah, very, very tricky, but it's a road to recovery, as I said. You've got to regain confidence, you've got to make sure that you know, for a couple of stages, you'll be just thinking, you know, I need to back off a little bit, and just have a little bit of a moment there as well, in one of the hairpins. So, you know, the rhythm sometimes is very, very, very difficult when you know, you don't have everything in you as head. Sometimes the obstacles are unsighted, so it can be tricky.
Yeah, exactly. That's obviously I think it's stage 4 in most of our videos. It's an overly long stage here. But unfortunately, I'm sure B-Roy will be very happy when we speak to him a little bit later that we are not encountering any adverse weather here in the WRC event. I know this direct quote, he loves the adverse weather, he loves the rain, he loves the snow. Don't quote me on that or anything. But back in the dry, I think this is his territory. He definitely wants to go for it.
Yes, I think this also is being run in the spring setting, so they have slightly softer compound tires as well than usual, so that might play into certain drivers' hands, and other drivers might be a bit frustrated. They probably want a harder compound tire. So yeah, it's definitely dry. However, the grip levels may be slightly less than optimal, so it'll be interesting to see whether some drivers are caught out. Maybe they did practice in the time trial setting or in a club that had different weather conditions, and including the time of day conditions, as we can see from B-Roy, there's a lot of shadows with the trees, and sometimes it can just blend everything into one grey mass, and you can't see where the road goes. And a lot of the technique, actually, which is used in snow rallies in particular, but also in some fast rallies like Finland, is to follow the tree line. You just go for the gap where the trees aren't, like for example there, and you know the road goes through that. Well, maybe not there for B-Roy, but you can see the concept.
Yeah, I mean, even as you describing that, I was looking for the tree line on that left-hander, looking where the trees just separated for him. And you actually, yeah, you see the path on the way through. I'm not sure it'll be very helpful on this more open plane, but again, yeah, just looking ahead, you can see almost where the trees just separate, and that is where the road's going to be 9 times out of 10. He's got a tight right-hander, square right. He's using almost a circuit racing approach there, get as far left as he possibly can, open up the entry, open up the corner for himself. And maybe a little run into the ditch, but round the hay bale he goes. Beautiful turn there by B-Roy.
Yeah, that's one thing that we don't see in rallies like Poland and Finland very much, is the ditches on the side of the stage, either on the inside or outside. Very characteristic of Estonia, and it's usually for drainage purposes to keep the roads in good condition. And it really does affect the racing lines, because sometimes you want to take a wider line. However, you lose grip on the outside of the corner because your rear wheel gets into the ditch, and then you lose all turning ability, or you even spin around. And so it can really affect how drivers approach a corner. Vlembaard does not seem affected by those minor problems. He would put them as, I'm sure. And we will be able to see his stage time in just a second. A 3-minute 44, call it a 45. We shall just check the leaderboards.
I think I'll put him
It's
third.
very close. Third. Yeah, third, according to my timing here. And it is indeed third. 1.7 seconds off the pace All of these a lot of top drivers will be participating in this one because it just plain and simple, it's useful esports practice. As we've got Bedrock Zoo just on our other camera there, who's just had a big impact with a hay bale in a chicane.
Yeah, it's fantastic practice. Obviously, I think you're probably more equipped to give an insight into esports here for WRC. Is Estonia one that quite frequently comes up on the virtual calendar? Massive impact there for Bedrock Zoo coming across the final kind of couple of markers, and you can see the frustration, the rocking back and forwards for himself. It was all going so well, and just a clip on the rear sent that car into a 360, pretty much in the air.
Yes, unfortunately, it happens way too often. You just have that confidence of I'm at the stage end. There's the finish boards. Let's try and take this last corner flat out, and sometimes it goes wrong. It even happened in real life on yesterday, actually, in Rally Poland. Josh McCurlian, I think, the Irish driver. I'm trying to remember his name exactly, but in WRC2 class went into the first stage of Sunday, went into the last corner, chucked it sideways. It looked like it was going okay, just got a little bit of understeer offline and hit a tree on the outside, ripped the rear right tire completely off, and game over, DNF for him. So it happens to even the best of the best in real life, and it can be very frustrating, that's for sure.
Yeah, indeed it does. It's one of those things that it's a micro change. It's a miniature hit on the rear. Obviously, the speeds that some of the drivers are doing, that is the G-forces. That's the impact that essentially carries the weight through some of these rallies. On the right-hand side, you can see Vlemba just viewing back his stage. A fantastic run by himself, as we've said, up into P3. And I think, where's that put him overall? P4 overall through the stages. Kamakazi, though, I want to talk about him for a brief moment. He's P2 overall at the end of stage number 5. He was P3. He's actually knocked off Vlemba from that P3 spot over stage number 5 by 0.4 of a second.
Yeah, what the driver in first place, Hujda, about 10 seconds in the lead now, but that's only a spin. That's only a minor a reset penalty, for example. So, as I said, the gaps on a rally like this will be ever so close, and it's all going to come down to who makes that perfect stage at some point, or who makes that tiny little mistake that costs them 5 seconds and puts them out of running. We've seen even on Rally Poland just how the gaps may be a couple of tenths of a second per stage, and you've just got to absolutely push and go flat out. And we've seen multiple times at this point, sadly, how it can go so wrong very quickly. I just wanted to point out as well with Vlembar's replay how the car setup differs as well. So on a gravel rally, sometimes you have the convention of you want it a really soft car, high ride height, and sort of as loose as possible to gain the grip, a loose anti-roll bar, for example. However, on such a fast rally, it can be convention that you set up the car in like a medium stiffness setup, really, especially in terms of the anti-roll bars and all that, because you're going at such a high speed that if the car starts to roll too much, you lose the grip of the inside tires a bit too much, and the car just starts bouncing all over the place. So it's a very, very tricky thing to get a car perfectly set up here, but ever so crucial as the speed increases.
Exactly that. Speaking of Vlemba, let's see if we can have a quick chat with him just for. Oh no, he's literally just deafened up as we go to do that. Nonetheless, we'll have a chat with him in a little bit. Punju there, making his way through, I believe, stage 5. No, it'll be a little bit later, potentially stage 6.
This is stage 6, according to my road book here. Again, another short stage, 8.5 kilometers. It'll be over in a blink of an eye for the drivers. They won't even see the stage go by. But again, dry weather, but the sun's setting. You'll want to make sure that your lights are in good condition, as we see Vlembar warming up, doing his pre-race ritual here with the steering wheel. It's very cool sometimes to observe how different the preparation for stages. Some drivers like to be very silent. Other drivers like to make a few jokes or be a bit more sort of relaxed before the stage. It differs from driver to driver. And it's all about putting yourself, you were talking about esports before, it's all about putting yourself in the correct mindset. You go into there with a plan and you stick to that plan and you do anything that you can to sort of get yourself into that 100% concentration. There was a driver I used to drive against, Dylan Noel, my teammate, who had to just shut his eyes for 2 minutes before the stage started. He'd literally only open his eyes 5 seconds as the lights were counting down the stage start, and he'd just go straight into the stage like that because he wanted to not think about anything else. And then you had drivers such as myself and most of the others that were sort of trying to get rid of the nerves, and that preparation can mean the difference between getting a stage-winning time or being 5 seconds off the pace.
Yeah, exactly. You see it not only in esports, but in professional sports as well. You're talking football, you're talking rugby, you're talking even motorsport as well. Every single driver has that ritual to make sure they get into the zone. Looking back, James Hunt quite famously threw up before every race, and that meant he was stoked, he was ready to race. And you know what? It worked.
Indeed. Well, whatever Punju's race ritual is, 25th place on this stage, 12 seconds off the lead. That's a good stage time. In terms of the sort of I won't say casual, but sort of mid-tier driver, very sort of fast driver, but not necessarily wanting to get all of the stages absolutely perfect and putting the practice in. So 12 seconds off the pace is an amazing time if you're not putting maybe 10 hours practice in. So it's a credit to just how talented all of these people are on this show.
Absolutely fantastic. And speaking of people talented, let's have a quick chat to the community as well. Just going back to some comments that I've read in our Twitch chat. Renegade Extreme says, "Hi all, just finished my poor attempt. How's everyone doing?" Well, I wouldn't consider any attempt here a poor attempt. I mean, you've always going to have someone to race again. I run these stages every now and then, and I'm nowhere near the quickest. But it's always good fun. You have a good laugh with it. Johan Vikstra on my first outing in the Creators Club. 5-second penalty on split stage 1 and later 2 crashes. Besides that, pretty okay. So it's good to see that everyone's getting involved as well. Club is now up to over 2,700 members. Absolutely fantastic stuff here, Isa.
Yeah, I mean, the participation just shows how enjoyable it is to race against people from around the world. I find that one of the best things about a rally game is just there's no limitation, sort of grid slots that restrict you to 20 players. You can just compete against however many, be it hundreds, even thousands, as you said, and that's just brilliant. And the stage times reflect it. The more competition you have, the closer the stage times are, the more enjoyment you have from it. And I would say there's multiple hours to compete in this specific event. So if you want to get involved, you still have time to set your stage times and to prove that you are potentially better than the drivers that are showcasing their talent here. Who knows?
Way too much.
Yeah, exactly. You can hop on any time during the week, put your broadcast time in, and hop in.
Nice.
I wonder if we'll be able to get B-Roy in for a quick chat, see how he's gone so far in this rally, see if his wheel has held up. B-Roy, welcome into the commentary box. You're well versed here over the past couple of weeks.
Dude.
First question to you: how's your wheel holding up?
Oh wait, no, maybe
It's actually holding up kind of nice.
I
It
honestly-
actually
I
feels
honestly
good. We haven't
thought
had
maybe
any
this
really
stage
big
I'm quicker,
stuttering
but
issues. The only thing I've really had is
of course
just
it would.
I felt the wheel grind a tiny bit, but just a quick little power off, power on. We're right back to it. But good to be back in the comms box. Good to hear your voice again.
Ah, thank you. It's a pleasure to have you. Always is.
Oh, it's always good to be here.
Yeah, the
Like,
gears grinding. That's rally in a nutshell, isn't it? There's been a few mishaps, and unfortunately, as we can see them just on screen there, the timing of interviews impeccable as always. How difficult is it to get used to such a really fast-paced rally? And what kind of are you able to use your normal techniques, or are you having to adapt on the fly?
It's mostly adapting on the fly. I mean, with such a fast-paced rally and with such a faster car than everybody's been used to all season, it's kind of just been going, just learning where you can. Obviously, like I haven't changed tires yet. Was super behind and just been using the same tires I started with. I don't know if I started on super softs. I don't know if I started on softs, but just adapting to the tires, because since these are very soft tires, you're going to wear these tires very, very quickly. So, learning on the fly, learning and keeping those repetitive patterns in your head is always a good thing. But, if you have, even just like a little tap with a barrier, or tap with a tree, it could all just send you spiraling one way or the other. But you know, it's been a fun rally. It's been challenging. It's had its ups and downs, and I just feel like every stage I keep improving. So that's something to build on towards the later half of the rally.
Amazing stuff. You actually ran this stage last time out in season 1. You finished P10 over all of the creators, so that in itself is some positivity going into the final. Well, just crossing the halfway stage here for this afternoon's event. What are you looking forward to? Where are you aiming for? I think that's probably the better question.
2 things. I've got a mod in here that runs this series, so we're attempting to beat my mod, and we're attempting to beat Dark Viper. I got roasted. Oh, and I'm attempting to show up Gareth. Because when Gareth puts you underneath a WRC post flaming you, you kind of have to show up and do a little bit better the next time you come out. So, yeah, Gareth, this rally's for you. This one's for you, buddy.
If it's any consolation, when myself and him ran this back in season 1, he crashed into a hay bale on stage 1 and actually DNF'd himself. So you're already doing better than he is.
And to that, I say, beautiful. The next time I see a WRC post that's about a wreck, I'm getting him. So I'm gonna just say, hey, remember season 1 Estonia? I remember.
Oh, fantastic stuff. Thank you, B-Roy, for coming and having a chat. Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure, boys.
I always love talking to B-Roy. Just such a positive attitude no matter what's going on.
Most definitely. You can tell really from his voice that he's having so much fun, and even if he has a few moments and all of that, he's just driving the car on the limit, and you know that's such a unique feeling, and yeah, it's great. It's great to see, and I think it's for racers like B-Roy, it's a change of tempo really from circuit racing, and I think he really enjoys that fact.
Yeah, I think he likes it. It's not necessarily slower pace, but it's the different technical ability that we have in WRC. You're not being forced to remember lap after lap precise how the corners go. You are just sat in that car. You're listening to your co-driver, and basically you're reacting on instinct in some regards. It was almost perfect there seeing Punju and Bedrock Zoo up on screen. I wonder if we can pull them back just a brief moment, because they were essentially side by side in this rally. You can see the pace notes at the top. Bedrock's about a few meters behind, but Punju and Bedrock at the same part of this rally.
Yeah, we'll do it by crests. He's 1 crest behind. There you go. That's the denotation of distance in Estonia. But yeah, you can really see he's driving a lot smoother, Bedrock Zoo now. He's sort of found the smooth zone, or the optimal line now between chucking it sideways and being consistent, and you can see he's using his racing lines now a lot better. I think maybe a few setup tweaks, maybe repairing the car as well a little bit, so it looks like it's going well for both of them, and we've got a few jumps coming up here in a minute, but there's always jumps in Estonia, and you know, one of the unique things is just trying to find that sweet spot. As I just talked about, as the speed increases on the circuit, you have free practice and stuff like that. In rally, you only get 1 or 2 chances to practice the stage. So the sweet spot, you just have to find it while you're driving, and that's why some drivers can get faster towards the end. Other drivers lose a little bit of time because they've gone the wrong way in terms of setup or in terms of driving style. But it looks like Punju and Bedrock Zoo are just absolutely nailing it for the moment.
Yeah, Bedrock Zoo still taking that approach of just throw the car into the corner, we'll deal with the consequences later. Punju, I think, still honing in on what he's done over the last couple of seasons here on the WRC. He's being cautious, but he's being precise, if that makes sense. He's not sending it into the corner, but he is being very detail-oriented with every single corner he makes. I say that as he smashes the rear of the car into a marquee, but nonetheless keeps going in the right direction. The turns are precise, and he is sending that car always forwards.
Yeah, I don't know who put that marquee on the racing line, but obviously, you know, just a mobile chicane, as they call it. But as you can see, I think Bedrock has actually gained a lot of time back, actually, because they're near enough in the same place, whereas he was about 5 seconds behind. So this is looking like a very, very good stage, and you can really see he's just hooking the inside wheel. Oh, he just clips the rock on the outside there, but he had the wheel hooked on that ditch on the inside. That can gain you a lot of time and act as like a slingshot out of the corner. You can put the power down earlier, And some of those techniques that you only find in rally, basically, that a circuit racer would look at it and think that's way too risky. That's just a normal Monday in terms of rally driving.
And it is indeed, of course, the technique differing massively over the different classes of motorsport. It's like you wouldn't tell a motocross racer to try and put it on pole position in the circuit race. It's just completely different class. Look at the jump by Punju. It's a spin out by Bedrock, though.
He took it the wrong line and just didn't. It was right over crest, and you just go. He went a tiny bit right over crest, but it's a big right over crest. You have to launch it about 20-30 degrees over that one in terms of steering angle. And yeah, he just got it wrong into here as well. He's off very close to the concrete post on the inside there. That was pretty spot on there. But yeah, just getting the pace note a little bit wrong, it happens. And then once you're in the air, you realize you've made a mistake, and you see the trees in the distance, and you think, well, there's no gap there, so I'm going to have to start putting on the brakes. He tried, and unfortunately, just the braking distance a little bit too much.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, I think we're on one of the longest stages here again this afternoon. If I can pull it up, I've lost the. Oh, here we go, RaceNet. That's what I was looking for. I think we're on stage 7, if I'm correct, the nighttime stage, or am I completely off here?
Indeed, it certainly looks like that. That's for sure.
Lovely. It says it's nighttime here in Rally Estonia. It's another massive smash by Bedrock Zoo, but it's looking quite bright. Although we are in Estonia, of course. I'm guessing remaining quite light over the spring here.
Yes, the lighting in the stages just does change quite a bit because you have the shifting time of day. Sometimes you can start a stage at sunset, and then it goes really into nighttime if it's a long stage. So drivers, big crash by Bedrock there. That's another one. He's got a puncture as well, just straight again over a jump. Again, he's done the opposite of before. So beforehand, he didn't turn enough. This time, he learned from his mistake, and paradoxically, it got him in trouble. He turned a bit too much and clipped, I think it was a tree on the inside. I only saw the end of that incident. He's got Punju with a spin as well, a 360. It's all happening over these jumps. But just as we were saying, it was calm and collected, and they've got everything sorted out. Rally Estonia bites, and it bites hard.
It does indeed. You take one moment back, you take a brief moment of relaxation in that car, and you'll find yourself in all sorts of trouble. And speaking of trouble, through the bushes, through the ropes, once again goes Bedrock Zoo, and it's all starting to dismantle for himself. I'm not sure if he's even repaired that puncture. I'm guessing by the inability to brake on some of these corners. I don't think he's actually repaired it this time around. He avoids the speed limit sign this time, though. So that's a slight improvement on a couple of stages ago. Another one missed, so we can add that to a tally somewhere at some point. But I think the focus is back on for both of our drivers. They've not got far to go. Punju about to come across the line. There we go, around the final corner, around the right-hander. And that time is going to be, I can't even see it. It's probably an 8-minute 11 or an 8-minute 17. If I stand corrected here.
It's a difficult choice with the punctures. You've got a 90-second penalty to stop and repair the puncture, and he was only a sector away from the end, so it didn't make sense to stop and repair it. With the four-wheel drive of this car, it's got enough grip. Punju 29th place there, 32 seconds off the lead. I've just seen the time on my screen. A good run, but it's obvious that he's made a couple of mistakes in there, and yeah, he'll be looking to regain confidence on the next one. I just want to mention Kamakazi now on our screen. In stage 6, he set the fastest time of all by 4/10 of a second, and you can see the driving that he uses to set times like that. Still mesmerising, not even lifting through that chicane of posts, and he's just making it look as if these corners don't exist effectively. But that will put him in good stead and maybe about 9 seconds off the overall lead. So it's game on with half of the rally to go, essentially.
Yeah, Bedrock Zero was just behind Punju there, I believe, if I've got my drivers correct. He'll come in at the low 100s. I think it was 103rd or 104th place. Only a couple of seconds ahead of Renegade Extreme, one of the drivers who was in the Twitch chat a few moments ago. But now on your screens is Vlembar, still the championship leader as we head through the penultimate round of Season 2 of the EA Creator Series WRC event. That is a mouthful to say. Across the line they come, and it's actually not going to be as close as I quite thought it was going to be. A 7-minute 52. That will put him up in 4th place.
Yeah, but 7 seconds off the pace. He's obviously had a little moment in that one. We've yet to see what time Mr. Kamakazi will set. It's looking like a fairly fast time. We're coming up to the finish boards here. It might be another fastest time. That's a 40.
I don't know why.
I think it's just off. I think that was a
Full fly out this
46 or
section, and I
47.
didn't,
So that'll put him maybe
touch
in
anything.
P2, P3. But
Very
as
lucky.
you can see, just
Great.
tenths of a
Nice.
second, quite literally,
it.
I'm envious.
splitting at the top
Very
of the
nice.
leaderboard here.
I'm getting very lucky.
Yeah, it's P4 for Kamakazi, a 7-minute 50.5. So P4 for himself, P6, P4 for Kamakazi, P5 for Vlembar, both of them 7-minute 50 and a 7-minute 52, respectively. So
Pretty sure I know where you got the cut.
it's hard to judge whether they'll be happy. It's a clap by Kamakazi. He's definitely happy with that on that time around. So up to P4, and overall, we can have a look. He's up to P2 overall. He's starting the chase down to P1. That time gap stands at 13 seconds.
Time gap increasing at the front there. Who's just
Where did you
putting
get the
on
cut?
a demonstration of consistency and pace.
He's
I knew him back in my esports days, and he's a developing driver back then, and he's now really developed into something that's very fast, very consistent, and sort of not afraid to go absolutely 110% into some of these stages. As we see our drivers starting stage 8 now, completely in darkness. I think Bedrock Zoo has not got his lights, which is going to be absolutely terrifying for the rest of the stage. I do not envy him. Thankfully, Estonia, one of the locations where the road surface is actually quite light, so you've got the moonlight shining down, and it's dry as well, so that's helping him. You've got the moonlight shining down, which will show him sort of where to go. Quite terrifying, however, that you can only see the hay bale with about 10 meters to spare, so this is going to be very tricky and one to watch. Just looking at, you can't even see the trees. You can't see anything apart from where you've got to follow. So stick on that track and you'll be okay.
Yeah, just follow the white line that's staring out in front of you. You can see the basic lights on the car, but of course, anything further than that is not going to be useful. You've got to listen to your co-driver's pace notes here. This is going to be so crucial. Trying to gauge where the track goes. There's a little bit of confusion there by Bedrock Zero. You could see it in his face. He almost got a little bit lost as he went through the weaving, the right, the left, the right once again. And now he's firmly back on the straight and narrow. But I think this is going to be very difficult. 8.5 kilometers for himself.
Yeah, this is not something that I envy at all. It's so difficult to judge the sort of line that you have to take with perfect visibility. So in the dark with next to no visibility, this is going to be a true test of how much confidence he has.
Indeed it is. It's going to be a long stage for him. But speaking of stages, over to Punju, who's over a third of the way through his at the moment, with lights firmly intact over one of the multiple jumps of this Rally Estonia segment. And so far, so good for himself. The time at the moment that he's aiming to look for. Oh, I say that as he's into the trees.
Yeah, he clipped something on the inside. The car jolted to the left. He was turning right. The car jolted to the left for some reason. I didn't see that he hit anything, but something happened over the jump. And all of a sudden, as he's heading straight for the concrete pole, just avoided it there as well. Those two jumps, one after the other, can really put you off in terms of confidence. But yeah, that was a lucky recovery. I'm not sure what happened over the jump, but yeah, he went left and turned instead of going right, and he was definitely turning right. So some sort of impact just before the jump. And unlike Bedrock Zoo, he was able to stop the car. He was just, a bit lucky, I think, in that one. But it's all skill as well, I'm sure he'd say.
Yeah, I think he's taken Doc Hudson's advice a little bit too much to heart. Tried to turn left to go right, and this time again, it's not paid off in his favour. There we go. We've got the beautiful split screen. Punju, Dark Viper, Bedrock Zero, and B-Roy all on one beautiful canvas. And we can watch them as they navigate through different stages. I'm not quite sure where B-Roy is. That is definitely not nighttime. So either he's behind or he's ahead of some of our drivers.
According to me, he is on stage 9, which would imply that there's been a DNF there somewhere, which is interesting because we have not seen it on our cameras. And as we can see, Punju having another 360. That's the, I think, third one of the live stream. He's just, showboating, Gymkhana style.
Yeah, just making sure we spend as much camera time on him as possible. He continued through with the odd bit of trick play in there as well. Everyone else making it through. I'm trying to watch Bedrock's screen on the top right at the moment. You can see absolutely nothing as he's trying to make his way through the stages here. Everyone else has light speed. Roy's found himself in a bit of a tree again, but this is a difficult challenge for Bedrock Zoo. He's making his way through. God bless him, but it is almost pitch black out there.
Yeah, I'm going to say the famous line, it could be worse. It could be raining, and then you'd have absolutely zero visibility. So I think this thing, you've got to forget about the hardships and all that. You can't even see the road signs now, so if he does crash into it, I won't blame him at all. That's the one that he crashed into, I think, on the other direction, so at least he's made it safe past those. But no lights at all now, not even the front lights. I think it's had a small impact, or just decided to turn them off. They can be more distracting than anything else if you can only see 5 meters in front of you. Your eyes sort of adapt to the lower contrast of the screen. And yeah, it's very tricky to even sort of gain any confidence. As Punju, another 360. That's the 4th one. We're gonna have to ask him about that at the end when we get him into an interview.
I think we most certainly are. We've got, can we have a check if Kamakazi's on the stage? He's been unmuted, so he's not actually muted himself so far. But if he's not, we'll be able to pull him in for a quick chat. I don't want to do it if he's mid-stage, though, as that would be quite off-putting. He is indeed mid-stage, so we won't bring him in quite yet. But we can bring in Mr. Punju himself, Mr. Donut, and see if we can have a chat and see what happened with those 360s. Punju, welcome in again. We thought we'd bring you in. We saw a couple of 360s in that last run. Do you want to talk us through them?
Yeah, what are you talking about? You didn't see those. I don't know what you're talking about. You saw literally nothing except for style points because I give the fans the experience. You know what I mean? On purpose, may I also add.
On purpose, definitely. So taking over the mantle from Ken Block, then are we? Which is fine in my books.
I mean, there were some actually big mistakes. It was a really fun stage. The stage before this, I felt like I was a cat with 19 lives. Like I was indestructible. So then I get back on this one. I'm like, oh, it's the second half of that stage, just round 2. I'm the same level of indestructible. I was not. I had used up all 19 lives. So it definitely kind of bit me in the butt a little bit, but it was a lot of fun. And I'm driving this thing full send, Jack Russell Terrier style. We're going after it.
I think you'll remember one of the jumps, one of the very big jumps, which is right over the jump. And for some reason, I think you'll remember the car went left instead of going right. What happened there? Can you explain that one?
I would like to know the same thing. I have no idea. I went over it like, oh yeah, this is gonna be great. It's the cut over the right 5. Man, I'm looking at my replay. I really was sending it. It's that cut over like a right 5, which if you're coming backwards, you got the big hay bale. So I know, like, oh, you got to cover that corner pretty big. Well, I think I cut it too much, and it's just, like, caught a spring. I'm actually right there on the replay right now. And then just, whoop, left instead. And somehow I thread the needle through the trees and came out alive with no damage there. So, yeah, it was wild. It was very wild.
Call that one an alternate line, then, I guess.
Quite alternate and slow, but you know what? Very fun, nonetheless. Estonia Airlines are on full force today. Max jet thrust.
Oh, amazing stuff, Punju. Well, you've got a couple of stages still ahead of you. I think, 3 stages to go, 9, 10, and 11. How are you looking forward to those?
Looking forward to it a lot. We're going to get onto the Super Softs finally, so our strategy is starting to unveil itself. Oh, my repairs. So, yeah, now we're on the Super Softs. We're going to go pretty hardcore. I'm just going to try to keep it mildly chill for the first 2 stages. So that way that 3rd stage, I can go hard, because I think I have a chance at a really good power stage today if I just keep it clean. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Amazing stuff. Well, just to give you a target to aim for stage 11, Ambient Mike, because of course we've had him on the show before, 2-minute 46.140. So that is going to be your target for stage 11.
Pretty quick.
Pretty quick indeed.
Beat that.
Okay, what challenging words there by Punju. It's been a pleasure,
right.
And I'm sure we'll catch you at the end of the show, mate.
Appreciate y'all.
Appreciate you. Well, guys, I'll give you free reign of who you want to chat to next. I think almost everyone has unmuted here. We've got I'm not going to trust Kamakazi as he doesn't want to mute and unmute, but everyone else is fair game.
We haven't had a chat to Vlembar yet, if I think correctly. It would be nice to see how he's doing in terms of holding the pace at the front.
It is indeed. Vlembar, welcome in to the commentary box for the first time this evening. So far, so good. We saw you have a little bit of an incident on that last stage, a little clip of the trees over the jump, but apart from that, you've been having a good time.
Yeah, I think I only had one more mistake before that, like stage 2 or 3 maybe. But yeah, in general, pretty good. Can't complain. I knew today Kamikazi maybe had more, even more chances than in Scandia, and yeah, seems to be true. He is flying today, so he's probably going to take the win easily.
He's about 12 seconds off the pace from my calculations. He's just won stage 8. I've just noticed that time, a second faster than anyone else. But how difficult is it to recover after a mistake? I've been talking about how a fast-paced rally, if you make a mistake, you lose time that you can't gain back because the gaps are all so narrow and close together at the top. How do you cope with that as a driver?
Yeah, it's really different throughout the stages. There's some spots where if you just make the smallest of mistakes and get just a bit of offline, it's gonna carry you into trees directly beside the road. And some spaces there's like a big open space where you get really lucky with having mistakes. So it's a bit 50-50 in my opinion, but yeah, you have to be really, really careful where you place the car. Because yeah, like I said, in some spots it's gonna be an instant terminal.
Yes, unfortunately, we've had the demonstration from Bedrock Zoo of the instant terminals on a signpost, unfortunately, and Punju getting away with way too many mistakes, as per his own words. So a very, very fast rally, and as you say, one which can cost you a lot. How do you rate your chances for the last 3 stages? Do you think you've got something in reserve?
I think I can push a little bit more on the last 3 stages, but yeah, for sure not gonna get Kamikazi unless he makes a big mistake. I think he's like 20 seconds ahead now, so it's gonna be really difficult. But yeah, I'm just gonna try and bring it home safely. Not gonna risk anything now, so.
Amazing stuff. Well, Vlembar, we'll let you hop on with the last few stages for yourself. Best of luck with them, and I'm sure we'll speak to you at the end of the show.
Thank you.
Oh, amazing stuff. Vlembar, again, one of the quicker drivers, obviously always up there competing. Our championship leader here in the Creator Series WRC event, 1,723 points, 70 points ahead of VBR Rodriguez. And that is it shows the commitment that he's put in week after week, rally after rally.
Yeah, consistency pays off. It's certainly true. I just want to mention Bedrock Zoo having another big crash there right at the start after fixing presumably fixing the car in service, I must say. And it looks like he's having a bit of a rough time. Yeah, as I've mentioned, it's one of those rallies where you have to regain confidence, and if you keep making mistakes, Takamoto Katsuta in Poland, for example, just not finding the confidence, and he said, I can't push, because as soon as I push, I'm going to make a mistake, so I just have to drive the rally off, and I think that's what's happening to Bedrock too. He's just trying to find a limit again, push, and he's overdriving the car sometimes. And that's one thing that Vlembar excels at, for example, is just pushing to his own pace. He says he's got a little bit in reserve, he can push a bit more, but he's been sort of going for the points, if you can say that way, as B-Roy has had an incident there driving into someone's car, I think, on the driveway.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how I'll explain that to their insurance. I parked it at home, I promise, and then a rally car came out of nowhere, but B-Roy does get going. He's not going to wait for the police statements. He just wants to get to the end of this rally, make sure he can get home, and that is all he's worried about.
The huge roll for a Dark Viper, basically flat out on his roof for about 100 meters, and unfortunately a reset penalty for him as well. But that's the second time that's happened to him this rally. We'll have to interview him about that at some point. But it's tricky, especially if the same incident happens to you twice. I was saying for Bedrock Zoo, just over the bumps, and B-Roy's off as well into the bushes. If you make the same mistake for multiple times, you tend to correct yourself, and then a different thing happens as Punju's hit one of the concrete posts. That is very unforgiving. Might be a puncture. I hope not for him. It looks okay, but that will do a lot of damage as well. Everything happening in this stage.
Yeah, I think it's fatigue, maybe a little bit of mental, maybe a little bit of physical fatigue coming in for our drivers. It's been a short rally, but in terms of speed, it's been high speed. Look at that Bedrock Zero once again finding his car the wrong way around. That Hyundai i20N Rally 2 car is once again facing backwards to where it should be, but he continues over the jump, still manages to keep going. There's still somewhat of a smile on his face as he continues through the twists, the turns, the jumps, the downs, and he, so far, I wouldn't say he's done too badly.
Yeah, if I read his lips correctly, he said, "I remember that one." And I think he's just made the comment that the pace note is way too late, because sometimes if you arrive in that corner flat out with the pace note calling, even if you hit the brakes as soon as you hear the pace note, there's a 50-50 chance you'll lock up and won't be able to make the corner, and we just see it's all that in effect. That it happens routinely with pace notes on these faster rallies that sometimes the co-driver can't keep up with calling out the notes, and so it's a delicate balance between providing detail versus timing in terms of the pace notes. That's why on some of the jumps you don't have a keep left or keep right, you've just got to figure it out because there's so much happening at the same time. And yeah, it's very, very tricky. He seems to be in good spirits though. Punju, that was a very suspicious cornering. I think he's got a puncture, sadly. I think that
right.
collision with the concrete post might have had a bit more of an effect than he wanted.
See, I'm going to predict there's a rear right puncture. That's what my guess is, because he's steering well enough here in the rally, but it's that rear end that is continually kicking out. Bear in mind, don't listen to me. I know not much about rally at the moment, but from what I'm trying to guess, knowing my knowledge of other motorsports, that is what it's screaming to me. He's not being able to hold that rear as much as he would like.
From the angle, I'm going to take a shot at it as well. From the angle of the car and his steering inputs, I think it's a front right puncture, but we'll have to see. Or front right damage, something like that. Oh, definitely front right. Something's happening. He's not able to turn, as you can see, into the left-hand corners, which indicates that there's something wrong with the right side of the car. And hang on.
Oh, he repaired the puncture before he went over the line.
I'm not sure I understand that one. That's a jigger-brain moment, I think, that is way above my level of understanding. Stopping right before the line to repair the puncture. I'm not quite sure about that one. How do you interpret that one?
I'm not 100% sure, because from my recollection, and correct me if I'm wrong here, punctures will get repaired automatically at the end of stages, no?
Indeed, yes, they do, which is why I'm absolutely perplexed as to what I just saw. It might have been a sort of protesting against what happened. It can be very frustrating if you just clip a post like that, and it sometimes you just in your frustration, I'm like, I'm gonna prove a point, I'm gonna repair the puncture, and it's yeah, small collisions like that can have a huge effect. You can get steering damage, suspension damage, aerodynamic. You can lose your lights, for example. And so, yeah, just unfortunate. He was maybe 10 centimeters too far to the right and just clipped the concrete post. I think it was just off of our cameras on the broadcast. But it was quite a high-speed incident, third or fourth gear. So I think that's where he got the puncture. Because we came back to him about 2 minutes afterwards, and he definitely had lost the tire at that point. But I guess we'll never know whether it was a front right or rear left puncture.
I'm sure we'll be able to ask him at the end of the broadcast when we have a chat, and he'll be able to explain his thinking behind it as well. Ambient Mike is actually in chat as well, and all he's put is Punju ? So even some of the fast drivers are a little confused as well as to what is going on in the mind of the American. And I'm sure we'll be able to answers at the end of the rally. But speaking of Punju, he was about to get going, and then he suddenly paused, so not quite sure what's going on with himself here.
Yes, there might obviously be something wrong, or maybe it's a wheel change that's been requested. That happens quite often in his live stream. He has a redeem for putting on like a Formula One rim and stuff like that. as we've got Bedrock going all the way into the farmer's field. I'm sure the farmer will be very, very happy about his crops being destroyed. Fun fact, actually, when you get rally insurance, damage to other people's cars and damage to crop is covered as part of the insurance. Famously, Rally Germany that goes through the vineyards has a lot of damage every single time that it runs, with people going off into the vines and causing thousands of pounds worth of, or thousands of euros more like, worth of damage. And so that is covered by rally insurance, hence why the insurance is so expensive in rally. Just a fun fact there, or not so fun fact because it's so expensive.
That's something I hadn't even considered before. I've done a motorsport event and they made us get out specialist insurance. It was something called a nav scatter. I'm not sure if anyone's ever heard of one of those before, but it was across the hills of Wales here in the UK. But yeah, something that never occurred to me is the damage to crops in rally insurance. And of course, it makes sense. Vineyards make a lot of money, especially the high-end ones, the aged wines. And so far, it will be paying out quite considerably here this afternoon.
Indeed. Yeah, and whoever's car B-Roy hit on the previous stage or 2 stages ago will also have the insurance payout. It's happened in real life a lot as well, with either accidents on the road sections, which is actually covered by normal insurance, if I remember correctly, but also Chris Meek going off at the last stage of rally, I think it was Argentina in 2017, and going through a literal car park next to the stage, chucking gravel, dust, maybe even making contact with a few cars trying to get to the finish line, famously reaching the finish with enough time left to still win the rally. One of the most insane moments I have seen on any motorsport broadcast.
I bet his insurance loved him after that, with all the insurance claims that came filing in. Oh, he broke my windscreen with gravel, there's damage to the paint, but nonetheless, he's not going to care. He won the event, and that's all that he's going to care about. On your screens at the moment, we've got Dark Viper, and we've got Bedrock Zoo at the moment. Bedrock Zoo hoping to keep it out of the dust and the dirt, and hopefully dig in for some better action here this afternoon.
Indeed, it's a stage of redemption once again, and it's bound to come right at some point. It has to happen. There reaches a point where you can't do anything more wrong, or the bad luck runs out, and you finally start to get a bit of good luck. And I do wish it on him to get at least a couple of good stages here. He looks like he's just wiping his forehead a little bit there, and I'm not sure if that's in terms of fatigue, in terms of the stage sort of speed, or if that's just a reaction to something, a moment that he's had there. But as you can see, Vlembar well underway as well. Slightly longer stage, this one, I think about 16, 17 Ks. So again, a stage where they have to settle into it, find a rhythm and go for it. And we shall see. It's business end of this rally now. There's not really any more time to recover. If you've made mistakes, you've got to just live with it, as Kamakazi could, just using the field as the road. There you go, the alternate Joker line there through the stage for fans of Rallycross. And yeah, in terms of the lead, it is crunch time as well, as we've only got a couple more stages to win. In terms of, I did have a look at the power stage. It's absolutely insane at the moment for the power stage. The top 36 are separated by less than 10 seconds.
That's absolutely insane. I can probably take an educated guess as to why Kamakazi was wiping his brow just a mere couple of moments ago. He managed to top stage 9 by over a second and a half. So that'll be why a 3-minute 56.0, and that sets him up rather well running into the final stages. He's got that time down to about 10 seconds now. So whether Hoosier makes a mistake in the last couple of sectors, who's to find out? But it's game on for Kamakazi.
It most certainly is. And again, this is what I was saying. It's one of these rallies where one little mistake can cost everything. Vlembar, we saw also just chucking it like reverse entry into a junction there onto the tarmac a couple of seconds ago. It's really interesting to see the difference in driving style, or indeed if the tires are going off. It could be that Vlembar has taken a bit too much out of the tires. The tread has started to wear away, or the tires have started to blister because they're overheating. They are very soft compound tires. So it could be any one of those things. I don't think the speed limit of 30 kilometers per hour is going to apply. But he's definitely closer to 300 kilometers per hour, I think, looking at this footage. But yeah, they are motoring through this one. And again, just that little correction sometimes can either be your worst enemy or best friend.
Yeah, I think this is actually some of the most aggressive steering we've seen from Kamakazi out of any of the stages at the moment. That wheel reaching about 90 degrees right and left, but nonetheless, he continues through the stage quite contently. Dark Viper, Vlembar, Bedrock Zoo, and Kamakazi all on your screens at the moment. Interestingly enough, the differing of their camera choice, we've mentioned this in broadcasts previously. Dark Viper and Vlembar, they're both choosing the cockpit cam, so to speak. Both of them, well, one of them having the wheel on, one having the wheel off. Bedrock Zoo as well, just coming across the line. I think that was up to finish off stage number 10, if I am correct.
Certainly seems like it. According to my calculations, they should have a service after this, where we will be able to interview some people as well. In terms of the camera, just going back to that for a second, there's a lot of thinking that goes into the camera choices. For most people, in terms of esports, they think having the bonnet camera like Kamakazi has gives you a lot more visibility of the stage, especially right in front of you. If you look at the two, the bonnet and sort of the interior of the car hides the first 5 meters of the stage compared to Kamakazi's view, and that can be very useful in a low speed stage for seeing obstacles and stuff like that. However, you sit towards the front of the car, so the feeling or what you see about how the car is handling changes because you're looking just at the front. So if the rear steps out, you don't really see it that much, apart from in the force feedback. So some drivers prefer that. Other drivers prefer sitting behind the wheel in terms of the camera, and so they can see how the car is rotating because they're sitting towards the middle of the car. It gives them a different feeling, and as you can see, the rotation, the way it looks, is a lot more prominent. Also concerning the wheel as well, some drivers like to have the wheel visible just to show them whether they've got any problems with like input lag or inconsistent steering. It sometimes happens that your wheel has a dirty sensor, something like that. So it's more like a troubleshooting thing. It can also be just in terms of preference, knowing that everything's sort of lining up with your own inputs effectively, that it's a one-to-one representation of what you're doing in car.
Yeah, it's fascinating to know because I'm quite the person that'll just hop in, stick on cockpit cam, and have the wheel on for pure enjoyment. But of course, when you're going at the speeds that you see in some of these clips at the moment, especially Kamakazi on the right hand side, like you said, camera choice is almost everything. They make their way through this asphalt part of the circuit, throwing it back to when we started stage 2, way back when in this broadcast, and it is going to be not necessarily make or break time here. You said earlier in the broadcast, you can afford to lose time through here. You just kind of have to get through it.
Indeed, indeed. And especially towards the end now, you just have to accept. If you've made a mistake, you just got to accept it and figure out what you can do on that power stage to gain some points back or to overhaul the people right in front of you. I just want to make a slight correction to what I said earlier. Ambient Mike is correct in chat. It was Rally Mexico 2017, not Rally Argentina. Victor of both of those rallies, if I remember
Bedrock,
correctly.
you and I are
One
up
of
for
the
the final
most
stage.
famous
How are you
moments
feeling?
in recent history.
I am
of
feeling
the
confident
WRC.
in that I might make it to the end.
And yeah, in terms of
think you got
the rally, it's a confidence rally, as I said, and so if you're well prepared for it, you'll know
this,
if you
good
have
luck, man.
that little bit left in the tank to go for either an extra position like Kamakazi's trying to do. Although it looks like he's lost time in this stage. We'll
Get rid of
just
that
check
spare
the
tire too, man. I don't need
stage
that
times
extra
right now,
weight.
if possible.
Yeah, exactly.
Get rid of the
Yeah,
core
just pulling
driver.
them up at the
Force him to
moment.
retire.
That is
Yeah,
going to be
P3.
tricky. That is tricky now because that puts him 15 seconds off the lead. And well, I don't want to speak too soon, but looking at the stage times in the last stage and how close it is, he is going to have to pull an absolute blinder to get the overall victory. But it must be said, P2 is very honourable right from the get-go. I don't think he'll be displeased with that.
Yeah, he'd have to set the world record time by about 13 seconds, if my maths is correct at the moment. It stands around the 2-minute 40s. And yeah, he's going to have to do at least a 2-minute, 25, 2-minute 30 maximum if he wants any chance of winning this out.
I think he has the world record in the power stage, so it is possible. We'll have to wait and see. The grandstand moment always is the power stage, and it's we're getting replays on another camera of Vlembar's hairpin moments there. But it's really, really interesting to see how drivers can take a completely different style into these stages and come out with almost exactly the same stage time. Really impressive. I think we've got Punju and Bedrock into the power stage, if I'm correct.
We do indeed. Just while we have a brief moment, we can keep those two on the screen. I wonder if we can pull Dark Viper in for a quick chat before he deafens up and gets ready to go for the final stage. Mr. Viper, welcome into the commentary box. Hope your rally has gone well so far. Talk us through it from your perspective.
I've had 3 bad stages, and 2 of them I flipped in. One, I was just sandbagging, just warming up, that's all. The rest I've been really happy with. Usually I'm like 200th, I've been like around the 100, 150 mark consistently. Big improvement.
The driving has looked incredibly smooth, apart from the few mistakes, as you mentioned. Just launching it into the corners. How have you found the difference with some of the other rallies, coping with the jumps and all of that? I've asked the same question to a few drivers now and got different answer each time.
Well, I'm usually quite terrible at jumps or just like any bumps in the ground. Usually they send me, but with this car, I've been gelling with them, so I'm quite happy with that. This is a really fun stage because it all just comes at you so quick and it's so fun to manage. It's great. I love this one.
Do you prefer, in terms of the car choice, we've had a lot of different cars this season already. Do you prefer modern cars like this, 4-wheel drive, lots of grip, or do you prefer the old school cars with maybe a 2-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, where it's just more about drifting through the corners?
I love them all, to be honest. For a mogger like me, I can handle anything.
I think that's the best answer I've ever heard, to be
that
fair.
is.
Yeah. What more can I say, really?
That's all you needed to say, and I'm sure that will live down in history, that the moggiest moggers taken on WRC and won as well. Fantastic stuff, Viper. We'll let you get on, I believe, with your last stage here this afternoon, the power stage as well. Best of luck, mate. Lovely.
As we have Punju through the stage with a top 10 time. He said he wanted to get this stage correct, and he most certainly has. In 9th place at the moment, 3.8 seconds off of the top time. That is an impressive result. He must have been absolutely flying through there, and you can see his reaction. Look at that, punching the steering wheel. He knows what it means. He's had a bit of a rough time in certain stages, but look at that. That is pure emotion.
Absolutely fantastic stuff from Punju. I'm sure he'll be over the moon when we speak to him in just a couple of moments' time. I wonder where that finishes him overall in the rally course. Like you said, had a couple of interesting moments earlier on in the stage. 83rd overall in this rally with a total time of 55 minutes 49.7 seconds. So he'll be happy with that top 100 time. Obviously, so far we've had nearly 300 entries in this rally, and that is fantastic to see.
Yeah, that puncture repair obviously dropping him way down the leaderboard there. We'll have to inquire as to what happened. Quick shout out to Bedrock Zoo as well, having a good stage, about 10 seconds off of Punju, but a respectable time. And finally, I think on that last stage, unfortunately for him, only happening at the last stage, but finally recovering some sort of that confidence.
Yeah, indeed. It all came back to him in the last stage, and most importantly, where it matters as well. And yeah, top 10 time, power stage for himself. Everyone else making their way through at the moment. You can see Kamakazi here on that final stage, using every part available to him through the grass. He doesn't care. This is all about time now.
Yeah, this is all about the power stage win, I think. I think he really wants this one. It's a stage he knows very well. He knows all of these stages well. He's been, he really wanted to set the leaderboards alight, and he certainly has. and he was saying to me he put about 40 hours of practice, if I remember correctly, into these stages in preparation for this event. So that just shows the dedication and the commitment that he wanted to put into this. And if you look, it's just inch perfect. Just, I think no more than 5 seconds away from that telegraph pole on the outside. It's mesmerizing to watch once again. That's the only word that I can find to describe it.
It's absolutely spectacular to see how close some of these guys are sending it to the obstacles that find themselves out in the wild. We've seen drivers fall victim to them, of course, earlier on in the stages. Not naming names, of course, because we don't want to bring them down after what has been such a fantastic rally overall. But Kamakazi here continuing through. He's over 2/3 of the way through the stage at the moment, and this is looking quick.
Yeah, we've got Vlembar as well on the exact same section of the stage. Maybe we can get both of them up in a camera together, because it would be interesting to see both of their side by side here. So Kamikaze's just gone through the corner that Vlembar's going through, and you'll see going right now past the house where B-Roy unfortunately crashed into the car there. And you can see the difference in lines, the difference in style. Kamikaze keeping more to the gravel, whereas Vlembar using a bit more of the grass. It'll be interesting to see which one is faster overall, but it looks like they're both on an absolute flyer this stage.
They are indeed. You can see Vlembar coming up to a tight right-hander, square right-hander even, sending the car in, hoping it sticks. And this is absolutely beautiful stuff from himself. The car handled, and across the line he comes. It's a 2-minute 44.1, and that is certainly quick.
Very, very fast once again. 44.1 will put him in P6 according to my calculations here, which is a very, very respectable stage time. And wow, I cannot believe it. They're so close on the times. It's incredible just how
GG's.
how
Yeah, we're
these
actually really
top
quick on that
drivers
stage,
just
Punju.
it's all by the
I was, dude,
millisecond. I cannot
It's
believe it.
11th after you guys finished.
Absolutely crazy.
I'll
I'm just
take it,
refreshing
man.
my
I'll take
screen.
ambient mic.
No, sorry, my screen.
6 in
Wow.
with a
I've never done that well. I also literally, like,
44.103,
saved refresh that
1.9
super
seconds
soft
off.
final
Kamikaze a
Did you
44.3,
really?
2/10 of a second between less than 2/10 of a second between
Finally,
the
on the
two
last
drivers
stage.
there. Incredible,
Quick.
incredible. But if you look at the top times, it's just
Vlembar, you were
decimal
20 seconds
points
off,
between all
Kamakazi?
of them.
Yeah, total.
And I think
Let me check.
Kamikaze looks relatively
22.
satisfied with that.
Tight.
Seems to be that
We're not going to talk
he's
about
analysing.
Yeah,
He does a lot of analysis of the
Nope,
stage
not-
times,
not
looks
saying
at
a word. I'll
everybody,
let you
seeing
find it.
where everybody ended up, if he's dropped a
Out
of
place or not.
267?
But, a
243
slight
is
smile
crazy,
on there,
I've
which
never
from a
finished that.
Norwegian is the best of compliments.
It is indeed. There's a
An
clap
applause.
as well, just to
You
round
are
things
so
off. Just to
tough.
confirm,
It's not even
he secures P2 in the overall standings for Rally Estonia. A total time of 50 minutes, 17.535 seconds. That's about 17 seconds off of our leader. Everybody else, Vlembar is there, P5 overall. So fantastic stuff from some of our drivers. Ambient Mike as well, another name that you will know and love. Actually topping out the Hyundai i20s in P11, so he's the fastest of them. So fantastic stuff all round. And yeah, just a great rally to watch.
Yes, indeed. Talking about the car choice, the Skoda was definitely the one to go with. It's got, I think, about 10 brake horsepower more, so it was the car of choice. But Ambient Mike, always liking to go in the Hyundais, and he's made quite a few jokes about it in the past. So he's staying consistent, and I must say, P11 with that is an impressive time, and I think he'll be very, very happy with that. And yeah, it's always great to see just the drivers pushing flat out. Vlembar P5, 39 seconds off the lead, and about 20 seconds off of Kamikaze. So it was really, really close in this one. And I think we might be gearing up for the interviews. I'm not quite sure.
I believe you are. Let's see if we can get Kamikaze. We haven't spoken to him, I don't think, at all this afternoon, just in case he was on a run. Kamikaze, welcome in to the comms box. Fantastic run from yourself, finishing P2 overall. Thoughts on how it went for yourself?
Good. I had no words. We knew we had good pace on Estland in WRC2. Is one of my favorites. We did a good practice. We had a good setup. We actually trust the setup in the corners. That's not every time. And yeah, from stage 1 we did great, and maybe a small mistake, but that's the margin. So I'm pretty happy to only be under 20 seconds behind the esport competition driver. So I'm pleased.
Yes, I think saying that you're not esports level is kind of sort of putting yourself down a little bit. The talent that I saw anyway in terms of the driving, well above the level that I've seen from non-esports drivers. Put it that way. The setup, I can say I drove it myself. Very good setup. So you were definitely well sorted in terms of preparation. Um, was there any moment in particular that you think that it slipped away from you? You had a few stage victories, but is there anything maybe that you think you lost out on?
Nah, I don't think so. It's only practice and preparations and track knowledge, and we did the best we could today. Nothing else. So, yep, I need to practice more. I have only done 45 hours this week, so yep, maybe 45 more. We can get it.
I think that's the first time I've heard someone go, I haven't done much practice this week, only 45 hours. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it just proves how much time and enjoyment that people have from the game. You don't put 45 hours in if you don't enjoy it. That's almost up there with esports practice. I do remember sometimes we were putting in 30 to 40 hours of practice for a competition. So yeah, it just shows how many drivers we have on this platform that want to compete, and the level getting higher and higher as we go along, the practice improving, the times shrinking.
And I need to give shout out to Lambert. He has a very good competition. He's a very good competitor, I can call it. We push each other and we make progress together. And that is the whole point. We have fun together as well.
Amazing stuff. It's always a pleasure to watch you take part in the rallies, Kamakazi. It's fascinating, even from the commentary box. My mind can't keep up with how fast you're driving. But thank you so much for coming and chatting to us. Looking forward to the finale next week for Season 2 of the Creator Series.
Thank you for having me.
Always a pleasure. Let's, well, again, I'll throw the choice out to you, Isa. Who do you want to hear from next?
We have not spoken to Encephalosis, if I remember correctly. So it might be good if we can get them in on an interview just to ask how their rally went.
Indeed. Well, Encephalosis, welcome in.
Hello, thank you for having me. Tough day today.
It was definitely a tale of two halves for some drivers. Talk us through how it went from your perspective.
Yeah, I mean, man, I wish I could say it was going great until it wasn't, but I had a bit of a rough start too, honestly. Was coming through like 150, 190 position. Not sure if I was not driving hard enough or sliding around too much. Might have been a tire choice too, because I did start out with the softs rather than the super softs, but I feel like most people may have done that. But yeah, I don't know. I must have missed like a leftover jump call or something that had my trajectory going straight into a fence post on what was it, stage 7 for the insta term. So not happy with that. And I made a comment that I had the exact same terminal on a practice run less than an hour beforehand. So, or less than an hour before we started. Might have been sometime before that now, but. Yeah, so not super happy with that. We did pull off a P34, I think, on the second to last stage. I wanted to show myself I could get at least one decent standing, so I am happy that I had one clean stage, but a bit of a rougher showing today, but still super happy to be here. Thanks again for having me.
Yeah, you didn't choose the easiest rally to participate in, that's for sure. The obstacles do not forgive around here, and they certainly don't give you a second chance. But as you said,
Certainly not.
you got a good performance out of it on at least one stage. And I was talking a lot about how you have to regain confidence after a mistake. And did you manage to do that? Did you manage to find the confidence again, or was it just a stage that you knew particularly well?
Yeah, I think I did find the confidence a little bit. I was mentioning to myself and to chat, we've already got the term, so we might as well leave it all on the line here. And so I tried to do that with my last 3 stages on the super softs. I think I had a spin out maybe on the first of those three, but yeah, on the second one we had our solid stage that we were looking for. So I think to some extent, yeah, we overcame the fear of the term there.
Amazing stuff. Sorry, John.
No, carry on, TK.
No, I was going to say, it's always been a pleasure to have you. It's always great to see you taking part as well. You always bring such a friendly attitude. Will we see you around for the finale next week as well?
Man, if you guys will have me, I would absolutely love to be here. Yeah, I just had a big move and I'm in a new situation, but the internet seems to have held up well through this. This is a good trial of that too, with the multi-stream situation. So yeah, absolutely, I'd love to be here. Where are we at next week?
We are at, that is a good question. We are at, if I can have a look, Rally Oceania in the
Oceania
97 to 2011 cars.
I wasn't
Ooh,
sure.
okay.
I was thinking it was either Pacifica or Oceania, so I didn't open my mouth. Yeah, difficult rally, that one as well. That will be very fast.
Yeah.
Same sort of gravel surface. And a question that I've asked to other drivers as well, do you prefer the sort of old school cars or new school, like sort of four-wheel drive cars?
Personally, I like to go fast. Not for nothing, I like to go very fast. So my favorite class is probably WRC. I know that's not many's favorites, but I certainly like the faster of the cars. I don't mind like the Group B rear wheel drives, even just because I value going fast over maybe even my own safety. So that particular class, I'm at least happy there's 3 Subi options. I'm a Subi owner myself. I got the Subi hoodie on right now, so I'll probably be taking the Blob Eye there, and yeah, I'd be excited to run that if you'll have me.
Nice.
Amazing stuff. We look forward to having you next week. I'm sure we'll sort something out. We'll make sure you're on next week because it's always fantastic to have you. But no, pleasure.
I really appreciate that.
Pleasure as always,
absolutely.
and thank you for taking the time to speak to us.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for having me again, and really appreciate it.
See you next week. It's been a pleasure.
Awesome. See you later, guys.
See you soon. There we go. Right. Once again, Isaac, I'm going back to your court. You get to choose the interviews for this evening, as many as you like, or as little as you like. I'll leave that completely in your court.
Putting the gauntlet on me. Well, I must admit, I've got to have a word with Punju to ask about that puncture. It's gnawing away at me.
Indeed. Well, let's bring Punju in at the moment. He's not in. There we go. Punju, let's have a little chat, shall we? Talk us through, I think, the question that is on every single person's mind. What happened with that puncture, and why did you repair it 10 feet from the finish?
So, great question. So one, I just made a mistake. I decided to take regular softs instead of the super softs for the third to last and second last stage, and not change. Basically run 6 stages on the same set of softs. They were fine-ish. They were a little bit low on grip, and so I just made a bit of a mistake and popped over to the right, clipped a wall, and then boom, puncture. I changed it because somebody in my chat said if you don't change it before you get to the end of the stage, it will not auto-change it for you. I'm guessing that was wrong. Which is unfortunate.
Yes, sadly, it is wrong. I think it does change automatically as long as you've got a spare.
I did, as you noticed.
Yeah, but you might have been trolled a tiny bit.
I was then. So that's unfortunate. But you know what? That's all right. Outside of that, I told myself, you know what? Hey, we're gonna have one bad stage, maybe another one. Who cares? It's all about the final stage. What can I do there? And that was by far the best stage I've done in Creator Series since last season. So I'll take it.
Oh, you certainly delivered. What was it? P9. I think maybe down to P11 now, but at the time
Correct.
it was a top 10 stage time. 3.8 seconds off the lead, if I'm correct. That is just blistering pace. Incredible. One more.
Thank you. Now there was something that somebody said right before we got into this final stage, and they said something about beating somebody on the final stage. Who was that said that? You told me that. Are you going to beat Ambient Mike? You said,
oh yes,
Mike,
that was my question, wasn't it? Yes, sorry.
Yeah. And
I believe you did.
Gotta buy a 10th. We'll take it.
Yes.
10th of a second. Yeah.
It was really tight.
Yeah, 1.4 tenths to be precise.
Yeah. Thank you for giving me that little extra bit. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I mean, to be fair, I had to do it on brand new super softs with a perfectly working car versus him. He was on regularly old super soft. So I mean, he is still arguably a faster driver. But I get him on one. The clock strikes 12 twice a day. So we'll get it right. So yeah, that was pretty good. Had some big mistakes on that one too, and somehow came out with it.
Yeah, bonus points also for the honesty. Honestly, I'm sure a lot of drivers would sort of brush that under the carpet. Yeah, we were on worn soft. The car was, hanging on by a thread, something like that. But good of you to acknowledge that. But I don't think it takes anything away from the stage time because you have to still drive the car even in perfect conditions. And I think maybe only a couple of seconds gained with the tires. So still, the performance is beyond impressive there.
I
And
appreciate that.
in terms of we're going to another fast gravel rally in Oceania in the
Yep,
WRC sort of I think it's 97 to 2011 cars. What's your thoughts on that?
correct. I like that combo because it's one of the only car groupings that has no true meta car. There's like 3 or 4 that are relatively viable, and I find a way to make the Mini Cooper one of them. Though it inherently probably shouldn't be. So I love it. It's my favorite rally car ever made in all of history. Fun fact is the 2011 Mini Cooper Countryman. So when I saw it was in the game, I was very excited. And this was also the first stage that I ever did any sort of big broadcast on when it comes to WRC. So it holds a special place in my heart when it comes to Oceania. So this car track combo, I'm really, really, really excited for.
Amazing stuff. Well, I'm looking forward to it as well. It's always a great one to finish off the season. And I'm sure we'll see you here. Well, we'll see you and a load of others here next week. Hopefully, we can give Season 2 the send-off that we gave Season 1 a few weeks ago.
It's going to be a party.
It certainly is. I might even wear my suit. Who knows what's going to happen?
Yes. Don't get me excited for a good time. I'd love that. That'd be awesome.
Fantastic stuff, Punju. Thanks for chatting to us here at the end. We'll let you head off for your evening.
Appreciate y'all. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much. I think that could sum up the interviews, unless there's someone that you specifically want to speak to this afternoon.
Right. We're analysis. Kowalski analysis.
Kowalski.
They're so. I mean, maybe if we can get B-Roy in because he had quite a rough time towards the end, it might be interesting to just get his perspective on that.
B-Roy, welcome in at the end here. Thank you in for the raid as well. We saw your little dancing emote hopping into the chat, but just talk us through what happened at the end there.
Oh yeah, literally the second that we got off the broadcast, or I got off the talking to you guys, we crashed 2 minutes in DNF, but we're not going to talk about that. I mean, after the DNF, it was just kind of just damage limitation and seeing what we could do, and I think we did pretty well. Just just what could have been. We could have had probably like 4th or 5th today out of the creators that were here, aka talking about beating Viper and Bedrock. But feels good to be back after a month though. I mean, it was a lot of fun. There was a lot of just getting my feet back into the what is it feet back in the water or whatever. I don't know the saying, but it felt good. I'm glad to have been back this week and show I still got it. Not so big on the tree hugging part though. We avoided that today. I'm kind of glad about that.
Impressive, actually. In one of the locations with the most trees, you avoided it. That's a special skill.
I wouldn't say avoided. I would have said heavily gone away from, but still had the opportunity to hit. Let's go with that. Because I did hit a couple of them. The bushes were not friendly today.
They never are, I don't think. Every time I've hit them.
No, the setup that I had, it was a really good setup. It just, when you put on the power a little bit too early, it just understeers and you have no opportunity to fix it until it's too late. Like, no matter what you do, you could hit the brakes, you could fully stop. That car is just understeering. There's no stopping it. But yeah, that, like, the times that I did hit it, like, I could have had some top 100 times today. I think my top time, I think my top stage was like 119th today or something like that. So I mean, I had pace, just the understeer points. If I didn't have as many of it as I did, it would have been really good. But
Yeah,
all it comes back to is that DNF. That DNF is going to come back to haunt me for a little bit.
They always
it's
do. They always do. I mean, no, I've never DNF'd. No. But if I were to,
Oh, it
they
must
they
be
would come
nice.
back on you. Yeah.
It must be nice.
DNF'd once too many times, I can assure you that much. But I think what my point was going to be that the stage times are very close together, so that 100th place seems a long distance away, but actually it's quite close to the top. So a bit more positivity to take from that than I think you're giving yourself credit for.
Yeah, just you gotta. Yeah, I just have to clean up some mistakes. If you clean up some of the mistakes, you clean up some of the things that Oh my god, I can hear myself on the broadcast. Hold on. I do not like the sound of my voice. I think just cleaning up some of the mistakes can just, I mean, those couple of seconds, like you said, they can just close you up so fast. And I take it a little hard when I see like I'm that far down. But you know what? We're all here to have fun. We're all here to have a good time, and that's what I did today after being gone for a month. But it felt good to be back. Just like I said, if we clean up those mistakes, I think we could have had so much better. And if we didn't hit a freaking barrel, it would have been even nicer. But I mean, I digress. I digress a little bit.
It's been fantastic to have you back, B-Roy. It's always a fantastic time to see you racing, and also just your personality brings so much to these streams as well. We're having our little chats, or when we're watching you race as well. It's always fantastic to have you here.
I always love being here. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for always putting on the broadcast each week, and thank you guys for being insightful, thoughtful, and I love these little chats. Gonna miss it next week because I won't be here again. But it was good to be here at least just for this week to hear your voices again and to hear everybody. For everybody that's watching, get yourself signed up to the club. #1 club in the world. Get yourselves in here. Have some fun with us.
Yeah, exactly. They should. B-Roy, thank you so much for coming to chat to us. And I'm sure when season 3 comes around, I sure will see you on the virtual grid then.
Can't wait to see you guys. Take care of yourselves.
Take care. Have a great afternoon, mate. And
You too,
we'll catch
brother.
you soon.
You too.
Wow, that definitely finishes up our broadcast. Absolutely fantastic. And just reiterating what B-Roy said, get yourself in the club. It's on RaceNet, and you can have a quick chat. You can race against some of our creators. And of course, every other person in the club. I think there's over 2,747 members in this club. Let's push for 3K if we can get there by the end of next week. Who knows? It might happen. I don't know if we're going to be able to have a look at the creator standings. I know Dirk in the background, who's been doing all the wonderful producing in the background. 135 for Blemba. That is up to date from Scandia. They haven't been updated from Portugal last week. So they're as up to date as our creator standings are. But there is, of course, 2 more stages now to add to this list for the finale, which will take place in Oceania.
Yeah, it's still all to play for in the championship, although Flembar looks like he's got one hand on the trophy. There's a certain person in P2, he's going to have to put his act together a little bit, a very bad driver in P2. So, for Kamakazi, he's going to gain some points back on this one. I'm not sure if it's mathematically possible, but we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, Vlembar, as you said in broadcast, consistency pays off, and he certainly made it look easy on most occasions.
He has indeed. And speaking of Vlembar, into the chat he comes. Fun fact for the end, we've had the most entries in the club so far. More than 440 people have attempted the rally this week. And that beats the previous high, I believe, of 395 when we ran Rally Italy a few weeks back. So it's fantastic to see the club is not only holding traction, but gaining traction week in, week out as well. And it is such a great competition to be able to get yourself involved in.
Yeah, indeed, with so many fast competitors and enjoyable cars and tracks to drive, such as Estonia, it's always a pleasure, regardless of the results, to not only see people participate on the broadcast, but to watch all of the times come in over the week and to see just so many close gaps and close times at the end of the overall run. So just want to shout out everybody that participates week in, week out, because without that, the broadcast would be slightly less enjoyable without having all of your times available to see and to compare to, because with the added context, it makes your times, but also some of the broadcast times, puts it into perspective sometimes. So thank you all for that.
Yeah, massive shout out to everyone at home that does run this stage. There's something else the broadcast would be a little more boring without is indeed yourself, Isa. Thank you so much for joining me. You are always such a wealth of knowledge and just an insight. And I actually learn so much every time we do one of these. Where can they find you if they want to check you out a little bit more?
Too many compliments in one live stream. Am I blushing? You can find me at Everything Is Amusing, username down there. And yeah, unlike most of the people in the broadcast, if you want to see lots of crashes and all of that, that's usually me doing them. So no worries. Most of you won't have a problem beating my time. So there you go.
Oh, amazing. Another shout out as well to Dirk Chocolate, who's behind the desk this evening, doing all of the producing, making sure all of the people appear on the screen at the right time. So massive shout out to him as well. If you want to follow any of the Creator Series accounts, they're just above our heads. We've got YouTube, Instagram, X or Twitter, and of course TikTok as well. And whether you're watching us on Twitter, Twitch, or YouTube, from all of us here in the comments box, it is good night.